And we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to this episode of Speak of the Devils. I am Dom Fusco, along with Sam Glavin. We are missing one of our trusty co-hosts, Sam St. Jean, today. He's unfortunately experiencing some power outages at his house, so we wish him the best. He's not able to be with us here tonight for this episode, but nonetheless, we got a packed show. We have the new soccer coach on today, the new men's soccer coach. And we are super excited to talk to him, super excited to talk about some NFL, some MLB, some programs, some college programs and specific sports being cut. We won't mention names, but it's not Dickinson, so don't fret. But we have a lot of good stuff going on today. And this is also all sponsored by The Grazery, of course. Speak of the Devils, as always, is sponsored by The Grazery. Go down and check out The Grazery next time we're allowed in Carlisle.
Yeah.
Sam, what's going on, brother? How are we doing?
Not much. I mean, actually, there's a lot of things going on that we're going to talk about, but hopefully you and I can hold down the fort. I don't have my microphone with me right now, so I apologize for the audio sounding a little bit weird, but
no sweat.
Dom and I are going to do our best, and we can start with the NFL if you want, like we usually do.
Yeah, big week in the NFL, weird week in the NFL. You saw the Browns, those Cleveland Browns, rush for 307 yards against the Dallas Cowboys, which was awesome to see. Almost blew that lead, but that was really, really good to see. Kevin Stefanski, could this be the year the Browns get into the playoffs? Question mark.
I'm hesitant to give anything to the Browns right now. I mean, Dallas does have literally the worst defense I've probably ever seen in my lifetime, other than the Browns like a couple years ago. But they, 50 points they gave up. They gave up 49 points. That's nuts.
Unbelievable.
And it was all basically the run game. And I mean, both of us, Dom, are Eagles fans, and we would jump at the chance to talk about how bad the Dallas Cowboys are. But, it's not. I can't believe that the Browns have a winning record. The first time in 6 years. Is that what they said?
Something like that. Something crazy. But the NFC East is basically who wants to suck the least.
Yes.
It's a good way to put it. It's just going to be who sucks the least at the end of the season.
Oh my God. And the fact that the Eagles are first in the NFC East, like we're both Eagles fans. Nobody deserves to be going for the playoffs as of right now. Like, one of these teams is going to make the playoffs, which is not.
But yeah, I love seeing a good quarterback duel between the old buck and the young deer this week. Tom Brady versus Justin Herbert in Tampa Bay. Justin Herbert, the Buccaneers on the fence in the first half, but Tommy was able to pull it out for the Bucs at the end of the game. But that was definitely a good matchup to see. Tom Brady's still throwing dimes, 5 touchdown passes, and then Justin Herbert, who continues to just dazzle, man.
Yeah, Justin Herbert looks great. I mean, from what I've seen, he's been making the plays that he needs to. And you know what? He's kind of I want to say he's kind of flown under the radar. I haven't seen like too many like highlight reel plays from him or anything like while I'm scrolling through Instagram, but that also means he's not doing anything bad. So like he's doing the job he needs to do for his team this year, which is great for him. I mean, I love seeing the rookie quarterback succeed.
Right. I got to ask you, is it Tua time in South Beach?
I mean, I don't know who else they were going to go to. I mean, I love
Fitzmagic.
Fitzmagic is great, and he tore up the Eagles last year or the year before. I can't remember, but Fitzmagic it's going to come to an end at some point, and they're going to have to get Tua in there. So I'm thinking it's Tua time, but maybe not everybody agrees with me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Tua time. Who else? The Chiefs and Patriots played. The Chiefs were a double-digit favorite. So when was the last time the Patriots were a double-digit underdog?
Probably not before I was alive.
Probably not while either of us were alive. So you just saw the disgust on Belichick's face after the game. Him and Andy Reid. He went up, just kind of leisurely gave a little elbow to Andy Reid, and you just see the disgust in his face, which I loved. I love it. I can't stand Bill Belichick.
I can't stand Belichick either. I mean, is he a fantastic coach? Yes,
sure,
obviously.
Sure.
I'm not a fan. I mean, I could be a little biased, obviously, but I loved seeing Patrick Mahomes just march down the field a couple times towards the end of the game against the Patriots. Obviously, the Patriots were not up to their regular standards with Cam Newton not being a quarterback, and that hurt my fantasy team as well because Cam Newton is my fantasy quarterback. But yeah, I've been having some real struggles in the fantasy football world, man. Just the worst. But
I feel that.
The Patriots seem to have definitely missed Cam Newton at quarterback. So.
Absolutely. My fantasy team did not fare well this week. Austin Eckler got hurt, and so that's my first round pick down the drain. Excuse me, for the next 6 weeks. But I wanted to shift it over to baseball, MLB. As you know, I have not really been following the MLB, but rather I've been tuning into my Google sheet here, looking at all of the games, and the Houston Astros. I think dude, honestly, COVID worked out perfectly for the Astros. It worked out perfectly for them. You think about it. They were going to continue to get pelted. The fans were in their head. They were not going to hear the end of it from all the cheating scandal that they had. Now they're in an empty stadium, and they're just playing baseball. They don't have anyone that's ragging on them. I think it played out perfectly because they are hitting the crap out of the ball. They're playing great baseball, and it doesn't look like anybody's going to be able to stop them here. So,
as a baseball fan, it hurts me to see how well they're doing right now and to see how lucky they've been getting with the whole the pandemic and everything, because it's almost been swept entirely under the rug already. Just the fact that they're starting to do well, and now everybody knows that they're probably not cheating because they've already gotten caught. So I hate to see it. I mean, is it great that the players and stuff are starting to bounce back for their own careers? Sure, but from a baseball fan standpoint, I hate it.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that, and it sucks because I actually rooted for the Astros in that year. I wanted them to win. I really liked that team a lot, but
I liked Altuve, and I liked Correa as well because in my high school we had a bunch of kids that from Puerto Rico because we were boarding school. We were able to get them on our team and stuff. So a couple of them lived in the same town as Carlos Correa, so they grew up watching him and stuff and seeing him play and get to the bigs, and I got to follow them along with that too. So I love seeing Carlos Correa do well, and Altuve obviously is a small guy, but he plays huge, or he did this year, not so much, but now in the playoffs. But in the playoffs, they're doing great. So I guess I was very disappointed, as everybody else.
So a quick shift. We'll do a quick college football real quick. Alabama is unstoppable. I don't see anybody beating Alabama this year. The Tide is going to roll, I think, the rest of the year. That's watching them play Texas Tech this week. Or was it Texas Tech? No, not Texas Tech. Texas A&M?
I can't remember if I'm being honest.
Whoever they I think it was Texas A&M.
Okay.
Beat the crap out of them. A good Texas Tech team, a 13th ranked team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the best Alabama teams I've seen in a long time. So I think the Tide's going to continue to roll.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when you think of Alabama, you think of them just dominating, your Twitter feed and your Instagram feed and stuff, but that hasn't really been the case for me, at least. I mean, I'm definitely not as much into college football as you are, Tom, but I haven't seen too much of Alabama. But the football that I have watched from Alabama, when I sat down and watched the game, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. So
yeah, definitely. And also in the WNBA, that bubble, they also had a bubble. And
they have a bubble.
They had a bubble. They just ended. And Seattle won its 4th WNBA championship. Brianna Stewart, who's an absolute monster, was named the WNBA Finals MVP. So that was really cool. I caught some of the highlights. They played Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, that was just – Brianna Stewart just continues to – I just think there's a lot of really good WNBA players that just don't get – Brianna Stewart is just an absolutely dominant at what she does. And she doesn't get the recognition or love that someone like Serena Williams, who also dominates in her sport, does in tennis. So I just think that she's done an incredible job carrying that Sonics team. Or no, I'm sorry, Seattle Storm. Storm, right? Seattle Storm, not the Sonics. What am I
Sonics is
talking
when
about?
KD was drafted.
Right, exactly. I don't know what I was talking about. But shout out the Seattle Storm. Shout out Brianna Stewart.
Yeah,
Good stuff all around.
Well deserved. The WNBA doesn't get enough credit in general, not just the star players, but just in general. It's real basketball. Like, I don't know what else to say. There's a bunch of studs playing basketball over in the WNBA. So I've definitely started to tune in a little more. I follow the WNBA and stuff on Twitter and on Instagram, catch all the highlights. It looks great. I mean, I'm be honest, definitely well deserved MVP. Obviously, she dominated the whole year.
Absolutely. And lastly, I guess NBA Finals. Jimmy Butler, Miami Heat, Game 4 last night. LeBron and the Lakers held them off. 3-1 lead.
Yeah.
I know it's been a good run for the Heat, but I just can't see them pulling it out. I said Lakers in 5, so I'm still going to stick with that. I think the Lakers are going to close it out in Game 5 coming up here.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to see the Heat winning this one. I mean, even last night was one of their best opportunities to win, other than the game that they had won already before. I don't see the Lakers giving them any more wiggle room than they did last night. They dominated. I mean, Dragic has been a pretty big loss for the Heat, and Bam, I'm not sure is up to his total health, like in terms of being totally healthy, especially playing against Anthony Davis. So it's been tough for the Heat. Jimmy Butler's been great, obviously. Tyler Hero's been fantastic. But I was thinking yesterday, just in terms of like a D3 like standpoint, that where both of us are coming from. Imagine being Duncan Robinson, right? You start off at Williams, you go to Michigan, and then you go and eventually end up in the NBA. Now you're
Awesome.
in the NBA Finals, and you get switched on to LeBron James. What are you thinking?
Unbelievable. Heat's been a really fun team to watch this year. Yeah. They're pretty young. They've got a lot of talent, and I think I know they got Goran Dragic, who's getting older. They got Jimmy Butler, who's he's still in his prime. And they've got some young guys like Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. They got another older guy, Jay Crowder, Andre Iguodala. So, if they can, if that team is if they're able to keep those pieces like they have this year, I think we have a chance of seeing them again back there next year.
Yeah, no question about it. And before we wrap up this first segment, I do want to bring this up. Obviously, most people know that LaSalle University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, has decided to make some cuts to their athletic department. I believe they made cuts to 7 teams. It was men's and women's tennis, women's volleyball, softball, baseball, and men's and women's swimming and diving. So I know a bunch of kids on that baseball team. I'm playing in a league with them currently right now. And I went to high school with a kid who's at LaSalle right now. His career is just getting started. It's a very young team. Just sucks to see. It was LaSalle said it was purely budgetary. I mean, obviously they didn't explain it very well. There's a bunch of social media you can follow on Twitter to help save these programs. I know more about the baseball one specifically because that's the one I'm connected to most. I believe Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports has said he's already willing to help. There's a bunch of pages you can donate to and things like that to help these athletes, these young student athletes' careers out any way you can, which is what we're all about. I know it's just tough to see. A bunch of friends of mine who are just getting started might have to find some other place to go, which kind of stinks. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts, Tom.
Yeah, you told me before the show that happened, that you wanted to bring it up, and I had actually no idea that LaSalle decided to cut all sports. And I mean, it's been a theme across the country. A lot of schools have had to make budget cuts. You saw Stanford cut like 11 sports, something crazy like that. So it just really puts into perspective that you really nothing in life is guaranteed. Like, sometimes it just sucks because there's nothing that they did wrong. There's nothing at all that they did wrong that was taken away from them. So I feel for those guys, but hopefully they'll maybe be able to resurrect it. But, my heart goes out to those guys and all the other sports that have been cut all across the country at all different levels.
Yeah, it just makes you grateful, like, to be at a place like Dickinson where we have the opportunity to play our respective sports and stuff. Just,
Sure.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yep. So now, a good opening segment, I think. Now we're going to get into our interview with new head men's soccer coach, Jorge Chapoy. So see you in the next segment. Healthy, not boring. That's not just the motto of Grazery, but it is also their promise to you. Visit Grazery today and indulge on fresh Mediterranean-inspired salads, sandwiches, and soups, among other great options, on a menu that serves both breakfast and lunch. Eat in or take out. No reservation needed here. So hurry on down to 156 West High Street, just yards from the campus, and enjoy a fresh and feel healthy meal today. I can't wait to get back to the Grazery, but for now, we welcome on a very special guest, new head men's soccer coach, Jorge Chapoy. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So, Coach, I want to just ask you, I was reading a little bit about the article that Dickinson put out on, your background, how you came from Mexico at 18, you're an All-American, all this great stuff. But what really stood out to me is that when you were on campus and you were interviewing and you were talking to everybody from the school, you realized that you said, like, this is the place I'm supposed to be. What about the campus or the process, or what about the whole experience? What really solidified that, like, you were meant to be at Dickinson?
So I guess if you think back when you were touring campuses as a student, I don't know if you remember that feeling when you stepped on one campus and you're like, wow, like, this is where I belong. It was kind of like that. There was a lot of things that, made it feel like home. It's very similar to my previous institution. They can, feel similar. The student athletes are very, similar profiles academically and soccer-wise. So that was very appealing to me, obviously. I didn't have to retrain on everything that I do, because the admissions process it's quite similar, not to be redundant. So, and I will be looking into the same type of, schools, to recruit from and areas in the country. So it was just, it was kind of meant to be. And as I was going through the interview, I was, invited to come on campus to see it. Obviously, you can't make a decision just like a student athlete without seeing the campus. And, my wife and I drove for the weekend. We went and got some salads from Panera Bread, actually, funny enough, and went and sat right in front of the statue of Mr. Dickinson. So sat on the little red benches, chairs, and had lunch, and it just, felt right. So my daughter was running around, and we kind of knew that, we love the town, and so I was very hopeful to get the job.
Good stuff, Coach. What are you eager to change when you come in as the head coach at Dickinson? Well,
a few things. One thing is, and I noticed right away, the alumni relationships aren't as strong as they should be. Where I come from, it's, I'm already working on it, but it's quite incredible. We had have a thing called an alumni networking night. Alums from all over the country and sometimes even the world will come back and meet with our current players, exchange business cards, and, our boys will get internships and jobs from it. And, it's also a great way to get connected. For the alums, it was pretty cool because they would, look forward to coming back and seeing, guys they play with, or guys that were maybe a little bit, before them or after, and, meet other, brothers from the team, because that's what you are, brothers, you're a family when you play in a college team. So, that's something that I see a huge opportunity to improve. So, and I think the guys are pretty excited, and, I'm hoping to start connecting with a lot of alums soon. And, I know a lot of them want to get involved and want to be a little bit more connected with the team. So, my hope is that they start, coming to games more often, and, taking trips together, and, watching on the live stream, a little bit more, and and again, get that going. So, that's a huge area of improvement for me. Amongst some other soccer stuff. I mean, but you guys know the team is great. They, I'm walking into a good situation. I'm not, I'm not looking to rebuild anything. The team is in a great spot. So I'm just trying to take them to the next level. And hopefully, win a couple more titles, in years to come. But again, 12 out of 13 years, they made the playoffs. So that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, Coach. So when I was a freshman, I saw them go to the NCAA tournament, which is, it's coveted. That's what everybody shoots for, is to get into the NCAA tournament. Not terrible years over the past couple of years, but not quite at what they were a few years ago. How do you plan to, kind of get them back to that level and come in there and not rebuild, but just, compete at the top right away?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, a lot of it is motivation, try to motivate them to be competitive. I think we can improve in areas like fitness. A lot of times, that makes a difference, especially in soccer. It's a sport where you run a lot. So, I've been speaking with some of my older guys who are my leaders. George Ladner, as you guys know, he's a beast. So he's been helping me, and he's, told me areas of improvement, and that's one. So, try to work on their fitness. There's strength. Obviously soccer, get better, get more technical, do maybe like a little bit of a better scout. The one that I'm planning on doing is very detailed. So I know that that's going to be new to the guys. Anything can help. You're talking about very small margins here. Like you said, playoffs, and you squeeze one or two more wins and you're back in the national tournament. And then, if you're really prepared, you can win a few games there. So, but we're going to come down to the boys. They got to want to do it, and I think they're very motivated.
Yeah. Coach, do you expect there to be any rough transition spots coming from a Division I program to a Division III program?
I don't think so. Nothing changes in terms of my approach. I'm going to coach the guys the same way. I'm going to have the same expectations. Obviously, student athletes choose Division III because they want a little bit of a more balanced lifestyle between academics and athletics. And I'm going to be respectful of that. But, like I told the guys, when we're training, when we're on games, when we're on soccer mode, they need to be all about that. And, when you step off the field, then you worry about your academics and things like that. But when we're in soccer mode, they need to be super committed. And so now I'm bringing the same approach. I recruit, like I told you, some of the guys on the team actually right now I recruited at Lafayette. I had conversations with, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, I knew some of the players already. So I don't. Again, I think it was a perfect fit for me, and the administration felt that way because of where I come from. Dickinson is so similar to Lafayette, and it was just an easy transition. I think the level is going to be the same. I'm recruiting the same type of kid, and I'm looking forward to continue to coach really high-level players. That's why I kind of sat and waited for an opportunity like this. I did not apply for a job in 3 years while I was at Lafayette. So when Dickinson came up, it was just, an opportunity I couldn't pass up.
That's great to hear. Coach, you have a very impressive soccer resume, and you've done a lot of different things at a bunch of different schools. But I read that you went into the corporate world after graduating college, and then you went back to kind of following your passion, coaching soccer. What led you to transition from the corporate world back into the world of soccer?
So, I obviously graduated business degree. Then I got a master's in sports management. So, just like everybody else, I had hopes and dreams to just go into the corporate world. And I did that for a few years, and it was fine. I worked my way up to being a corporate buyer. And it was cheese, fine cheese from Europe. So everybody loves cheese. So it was nice, right? You bring some sort of happiness into people's lives, but it wasn't meaningful enough for me. So one of my best friends was actually a coach at the time. He just kept kind of talking to me about it. And, a company that I was with actually went under, and I had an opportunity to go work somewhere else. I had a job offer, and I kind of decided, what, I'm going to take a leap of faith. So I went back to my alma mater, and I was a volunteer coach for about 2 years there. Didn't get paid for that. So you get involved. It's almost like going back to college. I will work in the afternoons doing club soccer. And then I was very lucky to get the opportunity at Lafayette as the second assistant. A year later, the first assistant moved on, and I moved up the ladder. So I was extremely lucky on how quickly I moved up. So, it was just, I guess pursuing my passion. I didn't do it right away out of college, but it's never too late.
I know you said earlier that in terms of who we already have on the Dickinson men's soccer team, you recruited a bunch of them to play for Lafayette. Do you expect that to be an advantage? You kind of already know what these kids are about, or at least some of them. Do you expect that to be an advantage for you when you guys start playing again?
I mean, I haven't coached them, so obviously I don't really know in that sense, but I know their abilities, and I know probably their mindset is very similar to what I'm used to coaching. So, I think in that sense, it is an advantage. I think I know the approach to take with them and what they're going to most likely respond to and what they won't respond to. So, I think, again, my previous experiences will definitely help, with, getting the best out of them. And, I think that I'll be able to do that. So, pretty excited for that.
Have you had how much contact and communication have you had with the team thus far, if any? And, have you been able to talk to them, or what's kind of been the deal with communicating with your guys?
They probably hate me right now. I communicated with them a lot. We had a Zoom call, a team Zoom call this past Sunday, and we're going to be doing that twice a week. So at 9 a.m. in the morning, which is pretty cool. Somebody like Colin Fagan is in New Zealand, so he was 2 a.m. He was up for the call, which was pretty cool.
That's great.
So I think out of 32 guys we have on the roster, we had 28 to 29. And the guys that didn't attend, reached out ahead of time to let me know, or George, obviously the team captain. So it was pretty cool to see everybody. But, before that, I had numerous calls with some of the guys, some of them multiple times. Obviously with George, I text and call all the time. Even, today I had a couple calls with some of the incoming guys. And so I'm kind of making my rounds. There's a lot of people to talk to, but I probably only a few guys I've not spoken with, but pretty much almost everybody on the team at least sent me an email to congratulate me. So I was pretty impressed with them. And from there, emails, calls, FaceTime. So quite a bit of contact.
That's great. Dom actually took my last question, so I'm officially out of questions. Dom, feel free to keep firing away if you have something. But other than that, we can wrap it up pretty soon if you want.
I just wanted to know what was one thing that really stood out to you about the campus? I know you said, like, when you stepped on campus, you really just felt like you belonged there, like that was where you were supposed to be. Was there anything specific that really caught your eye or really caught your attention while you were in Carlisle?
I mean, the town is great. It's the type of town that my wife and I, envision living in and raising a family. Pretty quaint. So, it's just a beautiful town. A lot of like restaurants. So we're foodies. So there's plenty of places to go and eat. But I would say the soccer stadium. It was quite impressive, and it's all soccer specific, all grass. So, and funny thing is, the last thing I saw, like, I knew that I wanted the job before I even saw the stadium. But once I saw the stadium, it was like, okay, like this is it. So, it's a beautiful stadium. Like, I think full dimensions. The grass is perfectly flat. It wasn't even cut like properly at the time. But I was on campus this past weekend, and I saw the stadium with the grass cut. It's quite something, So I'm pretty excited to get back on campus and coach the guys on it. So I even wanted to play myself. Boots on and jump in.
That's awesome. Coach, we obviously recommend going to the Grazery because we're sponsored by them. They've got tremendous food. But also on the last episode of this podcast, Sammy, and I did our top 5 restaurants in Carlisle. And we had a pretty so if you want to go back, check out our lists, and next time
I was going to write it down. You're going
to go to check out some of that.
I'll go check out the last podcast then.
Yeah, we got good amount of restaurants, So if
Can
you're
I-
a foodie, Carlisle's got about everything that you could need.
Yeah. Can I name a restaurant? Like, is that allowed?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
Oh, we just went to Micinos, I think it's called.
Yeah. That was on my list.
It's very good. Very good. I was
That was on
impressed.
my
Yeah.
list. Yeah. Micinos is great. Yeah, there are a bunch of great Carlisle restaurants. You can never go wrong going to any of them, really.
Yeah. What about the I think it's a Belgian restaurant.
Cafe Bruges.
Cafe Bruges.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rapid Bridges,
Yep.
yeah.
Mhm.
Is that
Yeah,
on
it's
your
good
list?
stuff.
That one's a great one as well, yeah.
That was on Sammy's list. It was not on mine. I've been there. I really like it. Wasn't on my top 5, but it was on Sammy's top 5.
I had a lamb burger. It was very good. So I liked it. All right. I'll check out the list then.
Awesome.
Yeah, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong anywhere in Carlisle. Good stuff. Coach, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
No, thank you guys. It was I enjoyed it. So looking forward to hopefully meeting you guys in person sometime in the spring.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. The team is definitely in good hands with you, Coach. Again, we look forward to meeting you in person. Thank you so much for your time tonight, and best of luck with your transition.
All right. Take care, boys.
Complex is something no coach or athlete wants to deal with, which is why every team aims to keep schemes and execution simple so success is easy to achieve. That's the game plan used by Grazery right here in Carlisle. Simple ingredients that are fresh, healthy, and above all, delicious. Healthy, not boring food that is not just good, but good for you. Made from only the healthiest and simplest ingredients. So, come in today and enjoy a great meal made simple at Grazery, located at 156 West High Street, Carlisle, Pennsylvania. That, Sam, was an incredible interview with Coach Jorge Chapoy, and really great to talk to him and excited to meet him in campus, hopefully share our insight from some of our top restaurants for him. And yeah, he's a really great guy. He's a really great guy.
he seems great, and I'm a strong believer. I think he's going to take this team places. I mean, he seems to know what he's talking about. I'm all about it. I'm ready to see some men's soccer Centennial Conference championships.
Love it. So, as we always do, we have our final segment. It's always something sort of fun.
Yeah.
And last week we did our top 5 Carlisle restaurants, as I just mentioned. This week we are doing the top 5 most clutch athletes of all time. So, Sam, do you want to read Sammy's since he's not here with us?
We
right
can read.
now?
So I'll read Sammy's list right away, and then maybe we can do a little back and forth of like what.
Yeah, we'll start with 5. Or no, we'll just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But when you can just say Sammy's.
Sounds good.
If that works.
Yeah, that definitely works. I'm gonna pull Sammy's list up right here. He's got an interesting list. Let me tell you, ours are very similar. All right, here it is. So at number 5, he's got Tiger Woods. Number 4, he has Michael Phelps.
No, whoa. We're going with 5, 5, 5, 5. Remember?
Oh, you're right. I'm an idiot. My bad. Justin's got to do some editing now. It's okay.
That's fine. We'll keep it rolling. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right.
So he's got Tiger Woods at 5. Who do you have at 5?
At 5, I have Joe Montana.
Okay. Joe Cool.
I like
that.
It's hard not to have him in his list when he has the name Joe Cool. Like he's cool under pressure.
Yeah.
Took that team places, man.
You're not wrong. My number 5 is the GOAT, Adam Vinatieri.
Wow.
Nothing.
Interesting.
Adam Vinatieri, kicker, longtime kicker for the Patriots, longtime kicker for the Colts, 1,000-point scorer with 2 teams, and has the most game-winning field goals, most in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl, and regular season. Adam Vinatieri. That's my 5.
Yeah, I had a tough – I don't know why, but I had a tough time putting a kicker on my list. I really did. And he did not make it on my list. So I guess I'll go for Sammy's number 4 is Michael Phelps, probably one of the best swimmers ever known to mankind. He's definitely clutch. I'll give him that. I love that picture of him doing the butterfly, and then like the other – it's like a side view, and then the swimmer in the other lane is looking at him, but he's just locked in dead ahead to the finish line. That's one of my favorite pictures of him. He's definitely clutch.
Cool. All right. Who's Sam's number 4?
Oh, my number 4.
Oh no, that was it. No, yeah. I'm sorry. You're
That was Sam's number 4. My number 4 is going to be Reggie Jackson, Mr. October. I mean, his name is Mr. October. It speaks for itself. He's one of the most clutch baseball players of all time, and got it done, especially in October when it counted.
Not bad. My number 4 is Tony Hawk. Yeah.
Hold up.
Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk, baby. First 900 ever in the X Games. Greatest skateboarder of all time. Tony Hawk. You see him laying that 900 in 1997 or whenever it was in front of that whole crowd.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Don't know if I'd call it clutch.
All right, you try to do a 900 in front of all those people in the X Games for a goal.
We're going to go by that logic.
That's clutch. That's clutch. I
can't do anything.
That's clutch.
So, I mean,
all right, well, I'm going Tony Hawk.
It's different. It's a little different to me. I don't know. You wouldn't. I didn't even cross my mind in this. Which is interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking outside the box here.
You know, that's definitely outside the box. You're right about that. Number 3 for Sammy St. Jean is he's a very smart man. He's got Reggie Jackson also, for probably the same reason. Okay. Yeah.
Fair.
And then on my list for number 3 is Kobe Bryant. I had to have Kobe Bryant on there, and I wanted to put him higher, but there are these 2 guys that I got up on my on the top are probably the clutchest of all time. So go ahead, Dom.
Mine is also the Mamba as well. My number 3 is also Kobe Bryant, one of my favorite athletes of all time. Rest in peace. And rest in peace, Gianna Bryant and everyone else in that tragic accident. Kobe is my number 3.
Kobe is both of our number 3s. So Sammy's number 2, Sammy St. Jean's number 2 will be Mariano Rivera. And that's a fantastic pick. He's a very smart man for picking that because he is also my number 2. For most clutch of all time, pitcher at least, in terms of being in the postseason, having the most saves. I mean, when you saw Mariano Rivera coming in, you knew the Yankees were winning the game. It's as simple as that. And he's got one of the dirtiest cutters I've ever seen in my life, still to this day, even when pitching is getting even better and better. He's fantastic. I could go into all the analytical stuff, but I won't do that to Dom tonight. So go ahead, Dom, give us your number 2.
My number 2 is also Mariano Rivera.
You're kidding. I think we all have to pick for one. So let's go right into the honorable mentions before we start to give our probably unanimous number 1. Let's see. Sammy's honorable mention, Sammy St. Jean's honorable mention would be, it seems that he has a tie between Adam Vinatieri and Tom Brady. He wasn't able to make up his mind, so he wrote both of them down. I would take Tom Brady over Vinatieri, if I'm being honest, just because, like I said before, I have a tough time putting a kicker on the list. But I don't know. My honorable mention is a little bit outside the box, and Dom and Sammy both know that it wouldn't be a Sam Glavin list without a Philadelphia sports player on it. And he's not actually in the top 5, but my honorable mention is Nick Foles.
Fair point. It's a fair point. It's a very fair point. It is a very fair point.
I had to get
honorable
in there. I had to get somebody in there.
My honorable mention. I went through a bunch of different guys, and I didn't want to turn it into a top 10. So
yeah,
I'm going with Serena Williams, who has been an absolutely dominant athlete, one of the greatest female athletes ever in any sport, one of the greatest athletes of all time. So Serena Williams is my honorable mention.
She is, for me, she's the greatest female athlete of all time. I mean, she's just unbelievable. Like, I've never seen anybody dominate a sport like that in a very, very long time. So Sammy's number 1 is, for now that we're on to number 1s, hopefully we all have the same number 1. And I know Sammy and I do. We'll see when we get to Dom if we all have the same number 1. The look on his face is a little questioning to me, but all right, I'll say Sammy and I both have Michael Jordan as the most clutch player of all time. Dom, what's the verdict?
I also have Jumpman as my number one. So
There you go.
I also have Michael as my number one. No outside the box thinking there.
No.
It's very hard to argue that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just got a little nervous then when you had Tony Hawk on the. I didn't know what was gonna. I didn't know
Tony Hawk is a legend.
I didn't know what was coming.
Tony Hawk is clutch.
I didn't know what was coming. So I'm glad
Tony Hawk is a legend.
We all had the same number 2 and number 1 actually. So that's pretty interesting. It just goes to show that both of those guys were the best at what they did, and that was being clutch. So that's pretty much it.
Absolutely. Okay, so this has been a heck of a show. Sam and I, without our trusty co-host, Sammy St. Jean, hope he will be back, weather permitting, next week. Hopefully his power turns on up in Massachusetts. But this has been another episode of Speak of the Devils for Sam Glavin. I'm Dom Fusco. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next time.
Well,
Peace.
Dev.